Hey everybody, it's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where I procrastinated on writing something to say at the start of the show. It's me, your man, MG Marcas Grant, joined by Michael Florio and LaQuan Jones. Happy Thursday, gentlemen.
Yeah. Friday Junior.
Friday Junior. I do like that.
We support that.
We do support that, indeed. Got a lot to talk about on the show, including Florio's team having the most bananas press conference that I recall seeing in a while. So we're going to talk about the championship games too, right? Obviously, two huge football games coming up this weekend. The winners go on to Super Bowl 60. We will dive into those at length. We'll also give you some DFS lineups. But do want to start with some news. So Florio, I have this thing in my head where every just bananas bat guano level press conference, I compare to the Raiders firing Lane Kiffin. And I don't know if you remember when the Raiders fired Lane Kiffin.
Vaguely.
So Al Davis was still with us at the time, was still running things for the Raiders. And Al and Lane Kiffin just eventually just did not see eye to eye to a point where the Raiders felt like they had to move on from him as the head coach. Al Davis pulled out an overhead projector. Now, those of us of a certain age recall the overhead projector as a thing they used like in schools where, before you had, laptops and projectors and big screens, like you had to use this thing called an overhead projector, which is basically a series of lights and mirrors. And you would put these like transparent sheets on top of it and it would project it onto the wall. I mean, like I grew up with these things in school.
Yeah.
The thing about overhead projectors is because you couldn't just use a regular sheet of paper, right? You couldn't just write notes. You couldn't just write your notes and put it on the projector. You had to have like a transparent piece of film. So in school, to create things to use on the overhead projector, it took time and effort. Like it took actual preparation. Al Davis created a series of overhead projector slides to talk about all the bad things that Lane Kiffin had done. I mean, he went through work for this, and it might still be on the YouTubes somewhere. That to me, because I remember watching it in real time and thinking, this is the most insane thing I have ever seen in a press conference. Terry Pegula gave Al a run for his money. Like,
hold my beer.
He didn't necessarily put together the effort to put together, transparency slides, but Florio just honestly throwing your now fired head coach and your most recent wide receiver, or not most recent, but one of your top recent draft picks under the bus in one fell swoop. That's a thing, man. How is Bills Mafia handling this right now?
Not great. So some of us are like me and think it was a half measure to get rid of only the coach and not the GM. Other people came away from yesterday feeling like, hey, we're like, there's a vision here. They're going like, because the thing that I think most Bills fans agree on is after 8 years, you got to give someone else an opportunity. Now, I know a lot of them are saying like, well, this year, like it's hard to pin this loss on McDermott and you could go through the years but my thing has always been like, he's a defensive head coach, yet the game always comes down to the very end. They give up over 30 points per game in their losses, stuff like in their playoff losses. So yeah, I don't think it's not a wrongful firing in my opinion. But the roster was pretty weak this year and it's getting worse. It's gotten worse. And I think anyone who watches them weekly sees that and was like, why are you giving this guy a chance? And then to answer the question that's on the rundown, did the Bills miss on Coleman or was it the situation? It's a mix of both. I think it's threefold, right? Like one, there's literally, and I pulled him out earlier this year, like this isn't me in retrospect saying it. Like there's tweets from the day the Bills took Keon Coleman from that first night where they traded back. And I'm like, Xavier Worthy and Lad McConkey was who I ultimately really wanted. But I was like, Xavier's out there. Like, there's names. Then they trade back, and I literally tweeted, like, I'd be cool with Ladd McConkey or Cooper DeJean. I don't want Keon Coleman, right? Like, so it was not like he wasn't a polarizing prospect because he had the fastest gauntlet of anyone in that combine, but he didn't have a lot of separation on tape. So there was flaws there. But then they draft him. I think it's scheme. I think Joe Brady struggles to scheme up downfield and out wide. It's why, since he's taken over, even Steph Diggs, like the first half of the year in 2023, Diggs looked like himself. That second half of the year, he was non-existent. That, I think, falls on scheme. I think it falls on coaching development, and I think the Bills have struggled to develop a lot of their players as of late. But then I also think it falls on Keon because he's being late. He's oversleeping. He's being late to meetings. He's getting benched because of that. He's causing himself valuable reps. I just think it was a perfect storm of, like, he was such a cool guy with such a cool personality that he got a bunch of sponsorship deals and stuff before he even took a snap. And he's still extremely young. That all being said, I think it's very dumb to throw a 22-year-old under the bus when he is still going to be on your roster more than likely next season. But yeah, it's why I wanted a hard reset. And Terry was like, oh, well, that was Sean McDermott's pick. But then Brandon Beane later on was like, well, you know, I kind of wanted him to because there's video proof of that day of him saying, I called Josh and told him we're taking Keon tonight unless we get blown away. Like, this all exists. They think we don't remember this stuff. But yeah, we were talking about, I think you should leave before the show. It was Brian's hat, except for it was Keon's jacket, right? Like it was that same style of press conference and everything, just with a jacket instead of a hat, I would say.
Well, we do live in an era where the people in charge of things try to tell us that we didn't actually see or hear the things that we actually saw and heard. So it just sort of fits that this is what the Bills would try to do with the whole Keon Coleman thing. One of the things Florio said here, LaQuan, though, is that he believes, expects, I guess, that Keon Coleman is going to be on the roster next year. How? I mean, one, how do they keep going with him? And two, is there a better fit, or is this or is it too early? I don't even know what to do with Keon Coleman, or if I'm Keon Coleman right now, what do I do?
I feel like it's hard to walk back in that building and be like, yeah, I'm going to give this organization my all. I'm going to go out there and hit that switch and make it all right. No, you just basically threw me under the bus and saying, like, you didn't want me here to begin with. Like, knowing that as a young player, 22 years old, this is still a kid. Like, he is just now realizing what the real world is. Like, this is what he's going to have on his mind going into next season. Brandon Cooks was on Good Morning Football this morning talking to Kyle Brandon, Mike Garafolo, and basically was saying, like, when he came in day one, he saw him, you know, he kind of looked like he needed some guidance and wanted to bring him under the wing. Like, he thinks he could still be a big playmaker in this league, but I just don't think it's in Buffalo now. Like, I don't see there's a universe where he goes out next season and ends up being their most reliable or their number one, whoever he brings in with the scheme or whatever the case may be. That's constantly going to be on his mind, that the higher ups, people who are in the sky boxes watching him go out there and perform or not be on the sideline. It's like, why am I here? I'm wasting my time. That's just how I personally feel. I just feel like there needs to be like a fresh start, hit the reset button and see if he can work his way on the field somewhere else and under better guidance and more confidence put behind him.
It just felt like as the season went on that the Bills were trying to separate themselves from him, right? I mean, as you mentioned, Mike, there were the him being late or sleeping in meetings or all those sorts of things. And that is on Keon Coleman, right? There's nobody else to blame but him for that. But it's also apparent by the end of the year where he just wasn't playing. They just weren't putting him on the field, even after it seemed as though he had gotten through all these other things. It just screamed that they were sort of over him then. Then you have the owner basically, telling him he's an unwanted child. It just feels like they're in a position where these two sides can't go on together.
It's possible. But at the same point in time, outside of Khalil Shakir, they don't have any wide receivers on their roster next year, and he's a $2 million player. Like,
whose fault is that?
But that factors into the decision, right? Why are we going to give up on a young 22-year-old who's making close to the minimum when he could be I think just look at the game on Saturday. Right? He dropped a open touchdown And then later in the game, he had one of the sickest like juke moves of the game and broke a dude's ankles and got like the flashes are still very high, which to me, look, maybe they feel different, but from my perspective, I don't think you give up, especially if you're bringing in a new play caller, someone who could get more out of the perimeter game and downfield, because that's what he was brought in to be. And then they don't have a system that attacks that way. You know, it just didn't feel like a good fit in this scheme. And if it's Joe Brady back next year, then maybe he's gone. But if it's like Brian Dable, I think there's a world where you're like, no, we need Keon Coleman's skill set in this room.
The other problem for the Bills is it's not a great crop of free agent receivers. Mike Evans either, I think, comes back to Tampa or retires. I think those are the two options for Mike Evans.
Retire.
No, I think he's coming back.
No.
I think the way last season went, if I'm Mike Evans, I don't know that I want that to be my last season.
He
you know
also
what I'm saying?
Was highly effective when he was out there.
When he was healthy.
Not 100%.
Yeah. So you got Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, who, yeah, man, I don't even know what to say about Christian Kirk. I'm just looking at the top guys. Deebo Samuel, he's not going to change things for your franchise. Juwan Jennings, all right. I mean, he's a nice piece. He's not a true wide receiver one. Brandon Ayuk's essentially a free agent because John Lynch in the biggest no bleep of all time is like, I think Brandon Ayuk's played his last down for the 49ers. And everybody around the world was like, well, yeah, man. we knew that a while ago. I mean, it's just, I'm looking, Rashid Shaheed, sure, again, not a guy that is going to be a wide receiver one for you.
It's going to be a trade, I think.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a trade. It has to be at this point.
I mean, I guess. But yeah, it's
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. I was going to say that was the name that popped up. AJ Brown
is big, but like DJ Moore, I think is one that could make sense potentially. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is the pie in the sky, but I don't think the Viking, even though with as disgruntled as he is, I don't think they move him. But
they're not going to move him.
There's a lot of movement in the offseason every year. Like we always are shocked by it, but it has become a staple. Like there's a ton of movement every March.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of movement, the coaching carousel continues to spin as everybody just plays musical chairs. Somehow Jeff Hafley elbowed his way into the carousel because otherwise it's just the same names, just changing places all the time. Among those, Mike McDaniel, who looks like he's on track to become the new offensive coordinator for your Los Angeles Chargers. Interesting combination of Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. I mean, I guess it's not because you have a head coach who wants to run the ball and now an offensive coordinator who is very good at scheming up running games. So, LaQuan, you were the big Omarion Hampton guy here. Does this mean Omarion to the moon?
Brock Lesnar, that was my comp for him. I mean, freak athlete, honestly. I do think this is great for Hampton, though, because we've seen him catch the ball. We've seen McDaniel kind of put these running backs in position in the red zone to catch the ball, and they find themselves in the end zone. I think that you can really just give him that workhorse title, going into next season. So I think he pulls up in the rankings, comes up in the draft board. I think, we could see more of Hampton that we've earlier than we did this season because we had to deal with the two-headed monster with Najee. I think Najee's obviously out of the window. I think Kamani Vidal is a free agent as well. I think they do bring in somebody like a backup, but it won't be enough to take away from Hampton. So yeah, I'm all aboard for the RB1 season for workhorse Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. The other guy that I think is interesting to talk about, Florio, is Oronde Gadsden, because we've seen what Mike McDaniel can do with tight ends. I mean, look, it's, obviously it's one thing to have a guy like George Kittle, and it's easy to get him the ball and have him make plays. But, he took Darren Waller straight off the beach and
out the booth,
out the beach, off the beach, and made him viable when he was healthy, right? I mean, it wasn't a ton of snaps, wasn't a ton of targets, but they were all valuable targets. So we saw, Florio, what Gadsden can do. Is it going to be enough that Oronde Gadsden Sr. will want to start his son in fantasy every week?
I think he'll be one of those tight ends that finishes the year as a tight end one. There'll be some up weeks, some down weeks, kind of like there was with Darren Waller last year in Miami. I don't expect it to look like it did with Jonnu Smith 2 years ago. I'll continue to die on the hill that I just think that was very that they didn't want Tua to hold the ball long, and he was their best yak guy at that point. But I put out a long thread on Twitter and Blue Sky yesterday comparing Mike McDaniel to Greg Roman, the 4 years in Miami versus the 2 years in LA for Roman. And McDaniel's offenses were more successful both passing and running the ball. And I'd argue that's with significantly worse quarterback play. But also what he did at literally, it's a staple from you guys, Marcus, but 21 personnel, only the Niners ran it more than Mike McDaniel did, which means 2 tight ends on the field. So I do think we're going to see a good amount of Gaskins in there. But to me, he's third at best. I think Omarion Hampton and Ladd McConkey are the big winners here because we know Mike McDaniel, as much as he could scheme for the run game and getting running backs involved, he's going to scheme that the middle intermediate portion of the field. He's going to scheme downfield, I think, better than what we've gotten out of LA the last couple of years. And that should really help utilize Ladd McConkey's skill set, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think one, Ladd McConkey gets helped by having Mike McDaniel there. I think the other thing that helps is just I don't think Keenan Allen's back. So I think a lot of those targets that went to Keenan Allen now.
Trey Harris season, maybe.
I think Trey Harris takes a step forward. I don't think he sees all the same work that Keenan was getting.
No.
And I just
the odd man out that we're not talking about.
Quentin
right
Johnston
now.
is just so inconsistent. I mean, he's just inconsistent. Like the highs are really high, and then he just turns into a ghost for several weeks.
I still think he's going to have that role. And one thing I think is possible is maybe giving him more yard, like run and catch targets, because that was his specialty in college. Like I know it hasn't really been what he's done in the NFL, but I think that's still in his bag. But yeah, I think Hampton and McConkey could finish top 12 at their positions with Mike there.
Yeah, I definitely think Hampton will. McConkey, I'd take that bet too, that he will do that as well, for sure. More OC news. The Buccaneers are going to hire former Falcons offensive coordinator Zac Robinson as their new OC. So that means staying in the division, just going over to Tampa potentially. LaQuan Robinson still your 101? Was he ever your 101? Is he still your 101?
He could be in conversation. I said it's either Puka or him. Like, I'm cool with taking Bijan at 101. But yeah, I mean, honestly, with Kevin Stefanski over there, we don't know who's going to be calling the shots, who's going to be playing quarterback. But all we know is that Stefanski, he creates fantasy assets. Like, I do think that there is a no-brainer here that Bijan is your best player on the field, so feed him the rock. So I don't see any drop-off, really, in terms of him going at the 101 or the 102, whatever you want to take him. I think he is the first running back off the board. So I don't look at any differences. It's Drake London that I'm kind of worried about. Like, I was flirting with him being in the first round and taking him off the board very early in the middle rounds or whatever the case may be, but I'm not too sure. I feel like if we go out week one with Kirk Cousins and Kevin Stefanski, whoever's going to be calling the shots, it's going to look a lot different than what we were used to of like Drake London having like a 40%, target share. I think it's going to be a little bit more spread it out. And they're probably going to add more pieces to that offense because I do think that it's just Drake London, Kyle Pitts is a question mark, and then Darnell Mooney, I guess. Like, what are we really looking at in 2026, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the guys you like are the guys you like. I know that sounds sort of generic or whatever, but I think, Bijan you're going to get. I think Drake London's going to get his targets regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of who the OC is going to be. Like, it's everybody after that. I mean, Kyle Pitts, Florio, you are the leading Kyle Pitts stan probably in our building when it comes to fantasy. Even though Rank tries to claim that, but I still think you sort of have the title there.
Well, thank you.
Does he come back? Does he come back to Atlanta? And is there, are you confident that Zac Robinson can get him the ball? Or I guess not Zac Robinson. Whoever's the OC, whoever the quarterback is going to get him the ball.
So Stefanski in Cleveland, I don't know who exactly is going. We don't know that yet. But at least his offenses when he was in Cleveland, they did feel like this year was Harold Fannin Jr., but prior to that, it was David Njoku, like who was pretty heavily featured. So I think there'll be a want for Kyle Pitts back, especially they drafted him top 5. They've invested in him these last few years. And he played well down the stretch last year, but the Falcons don't have a ton of cap, so I don't think it is a guarantee because it only takes one team, right? If they come out and they're like, last year was the start, because I do think Kyle Pitts, the middle of his career so far, has been really hampered by that knee issue. So if a team believes that like that is now behind him and he's looking like the unicorn that we were promised, it only takes one, right? So I think the Falcons want Kyle Pitts back. But I think there's a lot of other teams out there that are like, hey, we could add Kyle Pitts and really change the dynamics of our offense. So you never know with free agency, right? Like a couple years ago, we didn't think the Eagles were going to pay all that money for Saquon, right? So like I think the Falcons want him, but I think it's far from a guarantee because he's the number one tight end available this offseason, in my opinion.
On the flip side, I mean, with the Bucs now, because that offense faded badly in the back half of the season. LaQuan, are you higher, lower, the same on, say, Baker Mayfield? Are you higher, lower on Emeka Egbuka? I mean, Robinson obviously has ties to Sean McVay and the Rams. Can we hope that we get more consistency out of the Tampa offense next year?
I would sure hope so. I think you get a little bit of upgrade from Michael Penix to a Baker Mayfield now. I think Baker's been chirping on Twitter. If you've seen what he had to say about Stefanski, it's been pretty funny. But I do think that Baker should be back to form. I feel the same. Like this whole past season where the ups and downs, the roller coasters and injuries, I still look at Baker as a guy that can still go out there and sling it. Like he's mobile out of the pocket. Like he still has that quality of play that he can get the ball to his pass catchers. And like Emeka Egbuka, Mike Evans, is he coming back? Chris Godwin's still there. Jalen McMillan, like healthy this season, hopefully. And like there's pieces here where Zac Robinson can play around with, where we can see where we were very invested in the Falcons offense. Like we love Drake London, we love Kyle Pitts, we love Bijan Robinson, even Tyler Algier being a flex some weeks, which he's a free agent, by the way, we left out. But it's like, I look at this offense that it should be complete now. It should be like, okay, Zac Robinson, you have no injuries, fresh start. You're still in the division. You ain't go far. Like, you know how this team should be operating. You've seen this team rise and fall, and you have some great pieces there.
Yeah, I think there's some great pieces. Now, I think, obviously, Mike Evans' future, we'll see what happens with that. Is Chris Godwin cooked? No, maybe not cooked, but have we seen the last of peak Chris Godwin?
I think we've seen the best in the past.
You probably have seen the best, but I do think he can be better than what he was last year. Like that was a personal rule of mine that I'm going to be implementing moving forward is like, I'm just not going to be drafting players coming off of severe injuries because not only does it potentially eat into when they're back and stuff like that, but week to week, the inconsistencies and stuff tend to be pretty high with players coming back from a severe injury. So I'm willing to say, like, I think he can improve with a regular offseason and not having to deal with this injury and not having to come back in the middle of the year. Like, that's all challenging to come back from. But I don't know if we ever see, like, 2020, 2021 Chris Godwin again, where he was a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
So you're saying I should not draft and stash George Kittle next year?
Kittle, the one that's going to hurt me the most is Malik Neighbors, because you know I love that guy.
Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, like all those dudes that
it's too risky. I've been burned enough by guys coming off of injuries where I'm like,
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I still might take a shot at Kittle. It depends how far he falls, though. If I can put him on the IR spot, why not?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Here's the problem is, like, if all things being equal, he's a guy that you take with, like, one of your last couple of picks and you stash him. The problem is, you're going to get a report in August or something like George Kittle ahead of schedule. And then all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, yeah. And then there goes your value.
There'll be a time in like October where you're like, oh man, I have 3 guys on the IR, but I have to cut someone that I like because I have stashing Kittle.
Like, I think if you held Brandon Ayuk this season for majority of the season, there he is.
It always depends on the league.
Let me just raise my hand on that one.
I did it with Ayuk in leagues where I had like unlimited IR spots or like 5 IR spots. But if you have like 1,
I know some folks who had one.
Yeah, no, I wasn't doing it for that.
Yeah,
I had multiple.
I'm in a league that has none. I hate it, but you have to be more conscious of that.
I think my one buddy, it took until the playoffs. That's when he finally made the cut. But I'm like, dude, that week.
Well, if you waited that long, you might as well just ride it out.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You waited
It's a good example because we heard in August that he was going to be ready week 6.
Yep.
He was on the side running drills, walkthroughs, and then never came.
I'm really afraid of Kittle, though. I know this is a completely different conversation.
But it's a tight end position. That's why I said I would take the shot at that because I know my tight end 1 is going to be whoever it's going to be. And I feel like they might get the blonde badge of honor of being a top 5 tight end. So if I could just wait and stash George Kittle, why not? I might take the shot. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm very curious how the offseason goes for Kittle, for sure. That'll determine it. Championship Sunday is upon us. The last time we will have multiple NFL games in a week until, we counting preseason?
No,
August?
September.
No.
September. All right.
September.
So September. Last time. By the way, y'all, I'm sure you guys saw, or I know you saw because I texted it to you. 18-game season seems to be on its way. I think we all knew. This was coming.
Are we getting 2 bye weeks?
Yes.
I mean, you have to. You have to have 2. You can't have dudes playing 18 games.
More international games. I'm actually kind of here for it.
The international games are cool.
I'd rather have 2 more weeks of the real season than 2 more weeks of preseason.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I do. This is not even a bit. This is like for real.
No, I know.
For me.
I know how you feel.
I've said this before on the show. Like, I wholeheartedly disagree. Preseason is good and necessary. And the thing that makes it bad, the reason people hate it, is because we sell it to them like it's the real product. And it's not, and it shouldn't be. It never has been, and we shouldn't pretend that it is. If you are going to see a Broadway show, Florio, you grew up in New York City. LaQuan, you grew up in New Jersey. If you go to see a Broadway show, they don't sell you full price tickets to dress rehearsal and try to tell you that it's the real show. But if they don't do dress rehearsal, then the real show looks like when you go see it.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
We've basically taken the dress rehearsal and made it real life. We're making weeks 1 through 3 the dress rehearsal because even the few preseason games we have, nobody plays.
Yeah.
So then when everybody complains about how awful the product looks weeks 1, 2, and 3, it's like, well, I'm LeBron James at J.R. Smith. Disappointing.
Will Smith.
Because we don't use preseason.
With any of that, I'm looking at it from a selfish standpoint. We got to watch these games. We got to talk about these games. We got to break these games down.
We don't got. Last year, I went to the zoo. I took my kid to see giraffes during the preseason because it was a better use of my time than watching. And look, kudos to the guys who are trying to make a roster, right? Like, good for you. I understand you were trying to achieve a dream. Hallelujah. I don't have to watch it because I know that most of these guys aren't going to make a roster and have no bearing on my fantasy season. So I went and I got a beer and I walked around Griffith Park looking at elephants and okapi. That's what I did. It was a better use of my time.
I did go to the aquarium on a preseason Saturday in August.
Right? I would much rather look at jellyfish than some guy who's going to be at best a special teamer for the Tennessee Titans. I don't care. Stop trying to tell me this matters because you have, stop trying to sell it to me as a regular season game when it is not.
You're not wrong.
This is a complete
like
crash out by
and
Marcas.
Get morbid. I'm cool with that.
All right, so the Patriots and Broncos.
Preseason. Gotcha.
Yeah, we don't need a draft. Like, if I was commissioner, y'all would hate me. That's all I'm saying. You would either love me or you would hate me. Like, there would be no in between. Either I would be commissioner for the rest of my natural life, or y'all would have me out of there in 6 months. Like, that's
So
it.
the booze would be warranted.
Just it. Yep. Anyway, Patriots and Broncos. AFC Championship game in Denver. Two teams that I don't think anybody expected to be seeded where they were. I don't think anybody expected the Patriots to be a 2 seed. I don't know how many people anticipated the Broncos being a 1 seed and having home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Interesting note that I found out a couple days ago, the Patriots in their franchise history have never won a playoff game in Denver. They are 0-4. Does that mean anything to either of you?
Sell that to the Etsy witches. Let's go.
Is Tom Brady out there? Is Peyton Manning out there? Is Aqib Talib out there? Then no, this doesn't. No. I hate historical stats like this where, like,
absolutely.
Marcus, you could speak on it as like being a baseball guy. It'll be like, in May on the 13th, when it's raining with wind at 5 miles per hour, this team, who cares? None of that matters. It's not
whose voice is that?
You say that, but you say that, but Ross Porter, a man named Ross Porter, was never your baseball team's radio announcer. Ross Porter used to do the Dodgers, and he talked just like this, and he would have also esoteric stats. Did you know that Kike Hernandez has a 380 batting average against left-handed pitchers whose last name has a Z in it? Like that's the kind of stuff that he would do.
None of that matters.
I don't think it matters either. I just thought it was an interesting thing. Also, they've only played in Denver 4 times, like over I don't know how many years. So like nothing was the same in those meetings, I'm going to guess. So yeah, I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. Things that maybe are more interesting and more relevant to what's going to happen coming up this weekend, though. The Denver pass defense, minus Aqib Talib. Side note to all of that. Did you notice the amount of chains worn by wide receivers in the NFL has gone up significantly since Aqib Talib stopped playing? I'm just pointing that out. Florio, can the Patriots pass offense crack this Denver defense? Can Drake May and his pass catchers actually make a dent in the Denver secondary?
Yes. And this might sound like me being a hater here, but Denver was getting, outside of the 5 plays that the Bills put the ball on the turf or whatever, they were getting dog walked up and down the field in that game. Like, they legitimately never made the Bills punt. They never stopped them on 3rd down. They never stopped them on 4th and short. Look, the Bills made a couple of sloppy, careless plays, and that, I think, is what you are concerned with if you are a Patriots fan, because last week, Drake May did put the ball on the turf a couple of times, and like stuff like, I think you worry about turnovers potentially, but I actually just saw this on Twitter. Even with all the turnovers last week, Josh Allen was rated the 2nd most efficient quarterback behind only Sam Darnold, because when they were throwing the ball, it was working at a very highly effective rate. So this Broncos defense is very good. They're hard hitting. They force a lot of turnovers. They get after the quarterback, but they're also a bit leaky, right? Like, that's why, to me, when we had Scott Porter on here the other day, we were talking, and I said, like, I think they're a very good defense. To me, the elites were Houston and Seattle. So I think actually this is an easier matchup for Drake May and the Patriots than the one they faced just last week.
Yeah, I was trying to like compare who do you think has the better wide receiver room between Buffalo and New England?
New England.
I love, but the fact that we all had to like stop and really think about it.
You had to rethink of like, all right, the wide receiver 3, 4, 5.
Right.
All the same.
I mean, because like in the year of our Lord 2026, the Bills, were running out Brandon Cooks and giving him significant snaps and targets and that sort of thing.
They have guys like Booty who could take the top off better than anyone on the Bills. So I think that advantage, because then you open up underneath. You have Diggs, who is a better, more reliable option, I would say, than maybe anyone like Shakir. Like, neither one is great, but I do think that one is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious whether like how many deep shots they're able to take. Also, well, I was gonna say you have Drake May's mobility, but they just played Josh Allen, so that's not,
But Allen was using his legs very effectively.
Yeah.
Until.
Oh, he's using his legs effectively. The hands were kind of a problem.
Yeah. Like, I mean, even on the overtime drive, he was running on there.
Yeah, that's going to be something to kind of keep in mind too, because like May's ability to get out of the pocket obviously is going to kind of dictate what kind of coverages you can use.
May's the best quarterback in the NFL right now when it comes to pressure. And I think Nick Benito creating the pressure that he did last week, my God, he was just running with his hair off. But I think with Drake having the other knees, knowing where his players are, Ramondre Stevenson being able to catch the ball, I honestly think this is going to be a Patriots offense that's going to be able to do whatever they want. They're going to be able to throw it long with Booty. They're going to be able to drop it down and check it down to Henderson if they want to. I think that Denver last week kind of got exposed in some of those leaky areas that Florio's talking about. Like the assignments that they do in the zones that one of the plays I was watching, like they allowed Ramondre Stevenson get wide open for a check down and he ran up the field for like 45 to 50 yards because they were so worried about hitting the perimeters and they backed off so much. They're great at attacking and stopping guys and not letting them get a lot of yards after the catch. But when you have a Stevenson or a Henderson who's able to catch the ball out of the backfield, that's going to be the deciding factor. Not even to mention the tight end position. And it's like, that's one of the things that, Denver tends to struggle with their linebackers always having their ears pinned back, trying to get after the quarterback who's mobile. So I think there's going to be a lot of times where we're going to see Drake May kind of look ruffled in the pocket, but trust me, that boy's cool, calm, and collected.
I was waiting for you to hear the caveat from you because you started with Drake May is the best quarterback, and I was like, and you're like under pressure,
Under pressure. Stop it! Don't do that.
I was like, I just want to see where you were going with it.
No.
But you also did say that you think the Broncos or that the Patriots will be able to do what they want. So you think they can run the ball too, then, right? You think Andre, Travion, they can run the ball on Denver this week too, then?
Yeah, because Stevenson, the last couple of games, including the regular season, he's been able to be effective and efficient. And I think honestly, having that 1-2 punch, Denver's going to have a lot on their hands of trying to stop this run game because, again, they're going to have to worry about May taking the top off. They're going to have to worry about May just knowing where his guys are. So it's a matter of everything scattered around. So they can't stack that box. So if you stack the box or try to blitz him, May's going to pick you apart. And we've seen him make the adjustments on the fly, make the adjustments at the line. This isn't going to be a game that we seen last week where, again, Denver, they were able to pressure Josh Allen, but like you guys pointed out, he was effective running the ball until the turnovers. So this is going to come down to the turnover battle. It's going to come down to whoever break that ceiling of having the effective run game. So I think Patriots get the edge on this because we've seen my guy RJ Harvey kind of struggling. Scott Porter would tell you himself, he's the biggest critique for RJ Harvey. He's seen him make some mistakes where, he struggles in between the tackles, doesn't really have that vision yet that a J.K. Dobbins had, who may be on the return back.
May be playing this week. Yep.
I do think that the Patriots, man, they come out of this with really doing whatever they want.
Side note to all this, am I crazy that I might draft Ramondre over Travion next year? At cost. At cost.
That's not crazy. No.
It's probably going to be a few rounds difference, I think.
It'll be a few round difference. And it in some ways feels like Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery from a couple years ago. Not this past year, but a couple years ago. That Ramondre's not going away. He's going to be there next year. It's obvious they like him. And when he's healthy and not fumbling the ball, he's productive. If the hype for Travion is what I think it's going to be.
Which it will be. Year 2, he's going to explode. He's going to take the backfield.
I think I'd rather have.
Look, I'm going to defend Travion here because you're not crazy, Marcus, but legitimately every single stat points to Travion being the better player of the two of them.
Except for Josh McDaniels putting Ramondre on the field.
Yeah, no, that is really the only thing. But, and look at when Travion got the opportunity to be a bell cow. It was 3 or 4 games where he was putting up 30 points per game in fantasy. So I can't tell you what the coaches are going to do. But I will go to bat for my guy Travion all day long.
I mean, I get it. And it's one of the things that I always say is, we have to sort of follow what the coaches are telling us about it. And we can look at all the advanced analytics. We can look at all the numbers and this and that and look at the talent and all that kind of stuff. But if Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel keep putting Ramondre Stevenson on the field, that's the most important metric of all. The dude's getting snaps.
I do think Travion coming out this year and saying the NFL season is a grind and it's a lot harder than college and it's an adjustment that I'm learning on the fly. I think they wanted to ease, especially because we saw more and more later in the year. I'm hoping more than anything they set him free in year 2, but I don't think you're crazy. But the Gibbs example is a good one because even when they split work, Gibbs was able to be a high-end RB1. And I'm not saying Travion is Gibbs, but he has that explosive factor in his game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I just was kicking around, just kind of watching the Patriots last couple weeks. It's like, yeah, man, Mondre's not going anywhere. Even through all the fumble problems, he's not going anywhere.
Would you take him as your RB3?
Yeah, RB3, sure, absolutely.
I think that's comfortable, right?
100%. Yeah. On the other side, on the Denver side of things, Florio, how good does Jarrett Stidham really have to be? Like, he doesn't have to be Bo Nix good, right?
It depends on the Denver defense. Like, if they are able to keep it in a lower scoring game, then I don't think so. But if let's not overlook that they gave up 30 points last week in a game where they had 5 takeaways. Like, if they're giving up anything like that, Jarrett Stidham's going to have to be really good. And I know they're saying like, oh, he handles himself as a starter and stuff like that. He's made, I think it's like 6 or 7 starts in the last 6 or 7 years. Like, I know you could say all the right things, but he's going to have to go out there on the field and prove it. And I think the reason why, if this was a different team, I might not feel this way, but the Broncos honestly don't ask their quarterback to do a ton. Like, it's a lot of short, quick passes to the flat, a lot of screens, stuff like that I think Jarrett Stidham should have no problem doing. And it's a lot of first read stuff like that goes well for them. So I don't think if he was being asked to fill like Drake May's shoes, I might be a lot more concerned. But I do think this is an offense that is going to simplify things enough where he just has to be adequate. But for that to happen, your playmakers on both sides of the ball need to show up. Because if you're just asking your quarterback to be average, I don't think you're going to the Super Bowl if the rest of your team doesn't step up.
You know, it's also a revenge game. Drafted, 4th round, 2019 by the Patriots. It's a revenge game for Jarrett Stidham, if you're into that sort of thing.
You guys, I can ball.
I mean, I don't think he ever got a start because his rookie year, I think, was the last year of Tom Brady.
Sean Payton signed. Sean Payton actually benched Russell Wilson for him. I think folks forget that. Like, that's why he's been singing the dude's praise for so long. And like, he actually was like saying like this was one of the best, sneaky little signings that he had that offseason. So I look at this. He's going to go in there. He's going to do what he's capable of doing. Like, just be serviceable. Like, nobody's asking him to be Bo. Like, I do think that, like Florio pointed out, it's going to be a lot of plays to the flat. That's kind of like what Bo's been this season. Couple screens and don't make stupid mistakes. Like, this is a system that he has experience in. Like, I think we're not going to see him get vertical with his legs, but he's able to move left and right out of that pocket. Like, the only film we have on him this season is in preseason, and it didn't look bad. I mean, him, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, they look good, but at the end of the day, it's like you just need to go in there and be serviceable. The system kind of runs itself. Just do not turn the ball over.
I'm going to be a hater here, right? Because people are a lot like, that's the narrative this week with Jarrett Stidham. It's like he's got so much experience and he has 4 starts since in his NFL career, which is 7 seasons. He's been on 3 different teams.
He threw up 300 yards against those whiners.
He also has over 200 passing yards in all 4 of his starts. 6 TDs, 4 interceptions.
But if you're as good as we think you are, you play more than 4 games in 7 years.
He doesn't have to be good, just to be serviceable.
He also has a 9% sack rate in his career.
That's the O-line's fault.
I mean, some of it is like you got to be either get the ball out or get out of the way. Like some of that is on the quarterback.
I think sacks are the quarterback stat more often than not, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think there's sort of like interceptions, right? Where you could probably look at each one and sort of pinpoint.
There needs to be a stat when the interception is deflected off the receiver, though.
Like if it's a catchable pass and you just clanked it and it gets picked off, like, yeah, we need like a term.
Like
for
Trevor
that
Lawrence's second interception in that game against Buffalo, where deflected off of Myers' hands, that wasn't Trevor's fault.
That wasn't Trevor's fault.
It's not perfect, but turnover-worthy plays tries to navigate that, like
somewhat.
Can we clip the thing where LaQuan just said it wasn't Trevor's fault? Can we just clip that and just have that forever?
No,
it wasn't Trevor's fault.
We can delete that. Do not clip that.
Real quick, I mean, you talked a little bit about RJ Harvey. Is Denver's running game good enough this week to get past New England?
I mean, Patriots have been kind of
They've been tough.
star-studded.
They've been
tough.
really
They're
hard
top
against
10.
the run. Yeah.
And I feel like teams kind of shy away from that because you got to deal with the other side of that with Drake May being able to drive downfield and score. So it's not something that we've seen Sean kind of like brick wall it, try to just force it. Like he's gone away from it and kind of like, all right, we're going to just throw the ball here. And I think both of these teams, they're going to have struggles of like trying to run the ball because they're fairly good at stopping the run, like the stuff rates and being able to get the tackles for losses. Both these teams, both of these defenses are at the top of the table when it comes to those type of stats.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be okay. And I'm skeptical about this stuff of J.K. Dobbins coming back. Like, I don't know if that happens.
They need him, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, he was limited at practice on Wednesday. I am skeptical that he's going to play this week.
If they want to go to the Super Bowl, that boy better play.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't.
If he's himself, you know,
right? That part too.
I'd rather not give it to him if he's not himself.
If he's not there, yeah. NFC Championship game. It is the rubber match between the Rams and the Seahawks. They split during the regular season, so here we are in Game 3 for the right to go to the Super Bowl. LaQuan, is there more to this finger injury for Matt Stafford than he's letting on? And I say that, don't roll your eyes. I'm asking you a legitimate question here. Like, I'm asking because I watched that game against Chicago, and he missed some throws badly. He missed a few throws pretty badly.
Somewhere on
I don't think it was just because it was cold outside. I get it. He's a tough guy. He's a warrior. That's fine. Like, you don't have to sell me on any of that part. I understand that. But at some point, I don't care how tough you are, a hurt finger is a hurt finger, especially when your job is throwing the football. Is there more here than he and the Rams are willing to admit?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. Just the short answer is no. Because when you watch that game, like some of the plays where Puka slips, Adams is not himself still. The hamstring is still lingering. Like he's not running full speed. And then there's a couple throws where Stafford, the ball slips out of his hand. It's snowing. It's wet. It's slippery. He ain't out there like Teddy Two Glove. He ain't out there like Kurt Warner. He ain't out there like Jared Goff in his first start against the Dolphins in the rain where the ball was slipping everywhere with gloves on.
Look at you denigrating past Rams greats just for a carpetbagger who came from Detroit.
Stafford cannot fail. He can only be failed.
I know you ain't talking Mr. Josh Allen can't fail and can't lose. Like, I don't want to hear that. That's been the narrative pushed behind Josh Allen.
One of those quarterbacks is better than the other, but
I know Matthew Stafford, top 5 and MVP. Let's go.
32 out of 32 GMs would go the other way.
Listen, just because he has legs. But anyway, he's just Jameis Winston with mobility. But anyway, going back to Stafford, I'm saying this.
History of the league in pick sixes.
Who has 70 turnovers in the last 4 seasons?
Finger. Matt Stafford's finger.
All time. Every quarterback to ever play.
The finger is okay. There was a lot of slippery play going on in Chicago, and it was cold. I think if it was more to the finger, we would see it wrapped up. We would hear more about it. McVay will comment on it. There'll be more questions. Like, the finger is fine. Like, I do think some of those missed throws were due to the weather conditions, missed timing and stuff like that with Adams. Like, this has been an ongoing thing with Adams and the chemistry situation of them getting on the same page, or their hamstring is still lingering, or he's being very cautious in his route running, because we ain't complaining when Adams makes that sideline catch and Stafford.
I'm not saying all the throws were bad. I just said he missed some throws worse than he normally does.
But some of those misses were due to the conditions of the field or the receiver falling and not being on time, et cetera, et cetera. I would say this. If he continues like this, if the missed throws and all this stuff and the finger becomes a question, then, you know, it's curtains. We lost the game because we need Matthew Stafford to step up and put up almost nearly 500 yards again on this Sea Chickens defense. So that's what needs to be, you know, present in this game.
All right. I mean, like I asked the question. He was immediately rolling his eyes in defense. Like it was like I talked bad about his mama or something. I was just asking you a question about your quarterback. That's all.
Don't be talking about my mama.
So with that being said, Florio, do you think the Rams can have a vertical passing game? One, because, you know, obviously, I think it's going to be probably cold. I haven't checked the weather. I would guess it's going to be cold and rainy. It's Seattle in January. AKA, how many tight end screens is LaQuan going to have to endure coming up this weekend?
I do think they'll be able to throw the ball downfield. We saw they were able to do that until it mattered most in the game, week 16. They had a lot of success for 3 quarters throwing downfield. So I don't think it'll be like that game though, because if it's that game, everything has gone wrong for Seattle, right? Like, but I don't know if it's going to be like the first game either, which was much more lower scoring. I think it's somewhere in between the two. These two teams know each other so well that I think both sides get the best of each other at times. I personally think this game is going to come down to execution late in the game. Like, I don't see one side blowing out the other when you have this much talent and you know each other this well. So I think there will be times where like he connects to Puka, maybe Devontae. Maybe you get Tutu in there or something like that. But I think he'll have success throwing downfield at times.
I hate when we're doing the Tutu.
What are you doing to Tutu?
He's not playing. He's not doing anything.
I mean, he was a healthy scratch last week, right?
It's one of those situations. Why did we pay him $10 million for what? Why is he here? Like, are we not going to use him? Because I think he's more than just a deep threat. Like, we've seen him perform at a high level when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were on the sideline in the medical tents. Like, I don't know. It's just one of the weird situations.
Maybe he just brings good vibes to the locker room or something.
He is good vibes. He's funny. He's hilarious.
Maybe it is. I don't quite understand that. By the way, weather actually should not be a factor. It's going to be cloudy, but it's supposed to be 42 degrees is the high. Like, it's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's
MVP.
Fine.
It's going to be loud, I'll tell you that, though.
It'll be loud. It'll for sure be loud. The last time Sam Darnold faced the Rams in a playoff game, things did not go well for Samuel. Do you think, LaQuan, that Chris Shula and that defense can have Sam Darnold seeing ghosts again?
Well, when you have 3 offensive linemen that are all on the injury report this week and limited in practices, this does not look good for Sam Darnold. I mean, honestly, it's going to be pin them ears back and get to him. I mean, we have multiple pass rushers. Like, I'm looking at Josiah Stewart, our rookie, just showing up in plenty of games. Like, Chicago, that was probably his best game all season. Like, he was creating so much havoc and chaos. And I think when you look at Seattle, like, they're going to have to be doing a lot more to protect Sam Darnold if they're going to be having these injuries on the old line. So it's going to probably play out a little bit of how I would say his time with the Minnesota Vikings in that playoff game where we racked up 8 sacks. I do think that we'll be in the upper tier and be able to get the pass rush because we've been waiting for this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the two sides know each other. We all know that. I think some of it too, though, is I'm curious which coach has the better trick up his sleeve. Because one of these guys is going to have something, right? Sean McVay's got something cooking that he hasn't shown all year. Mike McDonald's defense might have something cooking that they haven't shown all year. I mean, if there's any time to let it go, this is the week to let it go, right? So I'm curious who has the better trick up their sleeve. One, who has the better trick and whose team executes that trick better. Because it's one thing to have a play or have a scheme, but if the players don't execute it, then you're like, then everybody on social media is like, what the hell are you doing that for? Like,
it needs to be a lot of that 13 personnel we talked about and the 1-2 punch between the running back twins. Like, that's literally what this game needs to be about.
So basically, it's going to be Terrence Ferguson throwing Jacoby Parkinson on the tight end screen. That's what you're saying.
Oh my God. No. Delete the play.
That's what you're saying.
No.
There is one way Darnold could have success, though. If the O-line gives him some time, I think he needs to be throwing that ball deep often. Because you have JSN and you have Rashid Shaheed, and the Rams' weakness has been perimeter corners, especially downfield. And like Shaheed was just kind of getting ramped up the last time. He wasn't there the first time. He was, I don't believe. He was still kind of getting ramped up.
Yeah, the second time they played, I think he had only been there a couple of weeks.
I actually think Rashid Shaheed is the most important player in this game.
He's the person that I am most fearful for, being that our special teams have been not safe for work.
My prediction this week was he returns a kick and then also catches a long touchdown. We'll see.
Emmanuel Forbes, he made that game-breaking play where he deflected that pass to Rashid Shaheed. So as long as Forbes is healthy, because he had a shoulder injury, I think he'll be able to shadow him again if he's going to be on the perimeter.
And then Quentin Lake, I know had an illness. Like, I don't know how serious it is, but
he should be fine. I think he's back to practicing. I'm not sure.
All right. Florio, can Kenneth Walker be a true workhorse now that Zach Charbonnet is done for the year?
I think so. I think he can always be a true workhorse. And in fact, you look at his game logs, It's no surprise that the games he touches the ball the most are the games that he puts up the most yards, but like it's his efficiency is where it gets better the more you feed him the ball. And to me, like he touched the ball 19 times last week. He averaged 6 yards a carry. 16 times the week before that, 6 yards a carry. Like I know he could be kind of hit or miss on a per touch basis, but his hits are game changing. And you two of all people should hate this guy because 4 of his top 5 games yardage wise has come against the Rams and the Niners. Like he just eats against that division. So the other one being the Steelers in week 2, which was a game where Charbonnet got hurt. So yeah, he's put up a lot of success this year when he's had the opportunity. And he's had a lot of success in this matchup. On paper, it is a tough matchup to run against, but for some reason, Kenneth Walker has had a lot of success against it, and their rushing attack has been more consistent and reached a new level this last month. So I am excited to see him get an opportunity to be a workhorse, especially because he's a free agent, I believe. So he's about to test the market and show like, hey, I could be a workhorse on a team in big games.
He's not going to get paid. And I'm not saying that because I think he's I'm not saying because he's going to be a bad player, but basically like, you know, whenever a running back tries to get a new contract, everybody in the world calls him like a diseased rhinoceros and won't give him any money. And so like, that's what's going to happen.
I think the times are changing a little bit.
I hope so. I'm all favor of like the dudes who take a lot of punishment, getting paid for it. But you know, we still have
He's been fairly healthy this season. So I think he's earned the bag up to this point.
There's still a segment of the population who seems to think that you could just grab any old body off the street and make them
What's going to work against them is it's actually a pretty good free. Like Breece Hall's a free agent, Travis Etienne's a free agent, Walker. You could throw Dowdle in there, you could throw Javonte in there. Like it's a solid class. Which Rashad White, that could lead to teams being like, all right, we won't pay you, we'll give someone else the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so many guys out there. Like, there's, you know, the supply might be greater than the demand.
Pacheco, it's a good class.
I was going to ask about Pacheco, but I don't want to. We got to move on. We can talk about that another time. It's time for Who Will Deliver, presented by Uber Eats. When football makes you hungry, order Uber Eats. So, put together our DFS lineups for championship weekend. LaQuan, you have the floor.
I was actually surprised I was able to have $400 left over from this lineup because I think this is a home run lineup. If you ask me, I got Matthew Stafford, John MVP.
John Stafford,
yes, the John MVP. I do think the running backs. I talked about Stevenson earlier, where he's been able to find success on the ground in the last couple of weeks. Kenneth Walker, we talked about. He's burned my Rams plenty of times because we have missed tackles on the table because we cannot contain him. But more so the wide receivers. I was very happy to come with my guy Adams. He's talked about in press conferences of how he wants to be locked in, and it's a mythical like feeling right now that he's made it this far because it's been a very long time. So I think motivated to get to the Super Bowl, that's why he's locked in. And I think Stephon Diggs, Rashid Shaheed got the dual threat there with him on special teams, being that he's burned us as well in the special teams, and our special teams have been not safe for work. So Terrence Ferguson and Puka Nacua, man, I'm going all Rams on this offense because I think it will be similar to that second act that we had where Stafford put up over 450 yards, over 500 yards of offense, basically. So Puka and Terrence Ferguson, I think this is the game that he unlocks Ferguson, and give me the Patriots defense. They've been solid all season long.
All right. I like that lineup. Florio, go through your lineup, please.
Yeah, I went with Drake May, who I think is going to run a good amount this week. I think he'll have success through the air like we talked about. I went with Kenneth Walker for the reasons we've already discussed. RJ Harvey, because I think the Broncos are going to try to establish the run. And when they can't, or if they don't, I think we're going to get a lot of passes to the flats and stuff. And that's where RJ Harvey can really make his presence felt. Puka and JSN, because they are Puka and JSN. But Rashid Shaheed, for the reasons I was talking about, I think his speed and his field stretching ability has the capability of being the most, because Puka's going to do his thing. JSN's going to do his thing, right? You need someone else to step up. And I think Rashid Shaheed is going to be that player this week. Hunter Henry, because the Broncos have struggled against tight ends all year, but specifically in the playoffs, they're allowing 82% of passes to tight ends to be completed. And Henry is a safety blanket and someone that Drake May can trust. So I got that stack in there. I went with Colby Parkinson because the Seahawks have struggled against tight ends both in the playoffs and all year long. You guys remember Colby Parkinson, that one game that everyone trusted him in fantasy was against the Seahawks, and he just disappointed. I think this is the game we all envisioned. And then I had no money left, so I had to go with the cheapest defense, which is somehow the Denver Broncos. Like, look, I know I said what I said about them earlier, but if I could get them for noticeably cheaper than any other defense and allow me to pay up for some other guys, I'll take the shot on that talent there.
All right. I was surprised that the Broncos were priced so low. I didn't use them though. In fact, we can put my lineup out. I'll tell you exactly who I took. We're Matthew Stafford because look, I do think the Rams have the best offense remaining in the playoffs. That's why I have 5 Rams on my lineup. Just follow me on this one. I got Matthew Stafford, Kenneth Walker. Yeah, obviously. Travion Henderson, I needed something because I was getting too Rams-Seahawks heavy in this lineup, so I needed something to go the other side, so I went Travion Henderson. You have a good offense. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I don't have a problem with your team. You're trying to make it so that I have one, but it's my issue is mostly with you crashing out and being irrational. That's all it is. So I got Travion Henderson, Puka and JSN, because as Florio said, they are Puka and JSN. To get that 5th Ram in there, I wanted to make sure I got Cooper Kupp going there. So I got him at 3,800. And then Terrace Ferguson, Blake Corum. I like that the flex because he has been running the ball very well. So I figured I'd get him in there as a flex. And I went the Patriots. I know I had to pay up a little more for them relative to all the other defenses, but it's a little bit of sort of betting against Jarrett Stidham. A little bit. It's kind of what that was. So that's why I went Patriots there. So yeah, I had 5 Rams. I got Stafford, Puka, Ferguson, Corum, and Kupp as the 5 Rams.
So you're calling for a revenge game, huh?
I'm waiting. He was so good. Like he didn't say anything. I was like 5 Rams. I said Cooper Kupp, and then he didn't even react. I'm man.
I'm proud of Cooper. I'm proud of him, man.
Are you?
He could have went somewhere and not been in the playoffs. For him to be at this stage, man, look. It is what it is.
It's very different than the song you were singing beforehand.
I was still bitter. I was the bitter ex. What do you mean? Like it takes some time to get over it.
Like you were weekend. That's all coming back.
You were gonna like load him in a plane and like push him off over Puget Sound. Like that's what you wanted to do before the season started. Now all of a sudden you're like, I'm proud of him. Like, no, you're not.
I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him, man. I mean, look, he landed back home. It's all good. He made a big play in that second act. Hopefully he makes no plays in his third one, though.
Basically, you're saying all the things that Florio and I said about him. He went back home. He found a place where he could be successful, and that was not good enough for you.
He went to the ops,
September.
Man. He went to the ops. Just ask me this.
I will say it for the umpteenth time. You let him go. You did not want him anymore. He was free to do whatever. He's a free agent. He was an unrestricted free agent. He was not a restricted free agent. It wasn't you can go everywhere but these 3 other teams. I say, if you had gone to Arizona, would you have cared?
No.
Right.
No. They're never a threat.
Right.
If he went to San Fran, I would disown anything in my house that has Cooper Kupp.
He went somewhere where he was potentially going to be competitive and challenge the Rams. That was a problem. He had gone to
like where he's born and raised.
Like if he had gone to Arizona, you would have been like, whatever. You
would want to play there.
Right.
We do have a team. We have the Jets and Giants.
You could have them.
Like I said, if New Jersey had a team, you would want to go there.
But if Cooper Kupp went to the Jets or the Giants, I would root for him. I would be happy for him there. I mean,
yeah, but he's not from Jersey.
So what? It's my hometown. You in the city, man. I could show you where to get the best pizza, man. I could show you where you can get a nice bagel. Like, come on, man.
Get him some pork roll.
Yeah. I mean, I told Jameis Winston about the pork roll. I don't know if he
Taylor Ham.
Don't do that. Don't do that. See, you were good. You was good, bro.
I blew it.
And cheese anyways.
Blew it. Oh man.
I'm not competing with New York, man. It's all good. I enjoy the bacon, egg, and cheese with the bev.
Sure, he's missing breakfast burritos though. I mean, him and Goff were having breakfast burritos every day.
I gotta find a good one.
Great.
I've only had the breakfast burritos we have at work. I haven't had one where there was a spy in those.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean, like that's fine. Like, don't do that and judge it and think that that's a.
I didn't judge it. I'm just saying I just haven't had a world class.
I'm biased, but
you know what? So I knowing where your wife works, like on weekends and stuff. There's a place not far called Cervateca that serves breakfast burritos all day. Have her walk over and pick you up one and bring it home. That's all I'm going to say.
He's giving your poor wife homework assignments.
I would think she would want to help you out. Oh, by the way, I gotta get this in real quick. That was Who Will Deliver presented by Uber Eats. When football makes you hungry, get game day deals on Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Gotta make sure we get.
That's how you can get your breakfast burrito,
right? Uber Eats.
Let's do it.
There it is.
We're professionals.
We know what we're doing here. As we get out of here, LaQuan, tell me right now, who will be playing in Super Bowl 60 against the Seahawks?
Rams Patriots. Running back.
I said against the Seahawks.
No. No. I heard you.
Okay. Florio, who's winning this weekend?
I agree with LQ. I think we get because look, the Patriots string of facing non-starters is continuing even in the playoffs. Like, they got the Chargers missing 3 of their O-linemen. They got the Texans missing Nico Collins and one of their starting guards. And now they're getting the Broncos without Bo Nix. I don't know what black magic or Etsy witches or what they have in New England. But my God, is it effective?
You know what? I'm gonna say this is gonna be Seahawks and Broncos. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a rematch of Super Bowl 48. Rematch of Super Bowl 48. I'm also going to say that, the Seahawks aren't going to win 43-8 and that there won't be I'm just going to put that out there now that if it's Seahawks Broncos, there's not going to be a safety on the first play and we're not going to have a blowout. But I do think the Seahawks legitimately win. And I think Sean Payton schemes up something offensively to get by the Patriots at home. So
there's only 4 combo names that we could get, right? It's either Mike, Sean, Mike, Sean. Like, that's kind of cool.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
We need a Sean and Sean Super Bowl, man.
I did not even think about that. A Sean, a Mike.
We got to stick it to Peyton one more time because Nicole, Roby Coleman, that was a pass interference in New Orleans, whatever. But, we'll run it back and beat you the proper way.
I mean, but also that's not why the Saints lost that game.
No, they had possession after that. They were crying. They threw an interception.
Even if Nicole Roby Coleman fight on forever did interfere with the pass forever and ever. Anyway, that's enough of that. That'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy Championship Sunday, everybody. We will talk to you again on Tuesday.